I have an issue with a lot of the speculative science fiction I've read. There are exceptions, of course, but a lot of them explore potential ideas and thought experiments at the cost of characters and emotional payoff, kind of just leaving me with an empty feeling of what was the point. Months ago, a classmate posed the question to me before reading Greg Egan's Closer of whether it was a sad ending or a happy one. I don't know if I have the answer, but I think I can confidently say that it ends up somewhere in between in the zone known as the bittersweet. And it's what made me appreciate and enjoy the story as a piece of science fiction, but also as an exploration of a personal identity and connections to another in a relationship. In the course of writing this, I had come to realize that true emotional reconciliation and discovery is found within the bittersweet, the dichotomy of happiness and sadness. Where both Closer and Disco Elysium thrive is in this bittersweet zone, where the takeaways are made all the more powerful because of this dichotomy. The stories are very different from one another, yet I think they both exemplify how a story can affect us emotionally, because they don't reside on either side of the binary. Closer tells the story of a world in the far future where at the age of 18, our brains are replaced with a neural net computer called a jewel. Our main character, Michael, falls in love with a woman named Sean, where they then engage in a mostly happy yet at times tumultuous relationship filled with impulsive sex, boredom, stagnation, and the need both characters have for always wanting to be closer. They switch bodies and sex organs and experience what it is like to be in one another's bodies, yet the need to be closer to each other still persists. Still, sometimes if I woke in the night, I'd turn to her and whisper, inaudibly, compulsively, "I don't know you. I have no idea who or what you are." I'd lie there and think about packing and leaving. I was alone, and it was farcical to go through this whole charade of pretending otherwise. The story ends with the relationship falling apart after both characters engage in an experimental project where their minds are blended into one, experiencing all of each other's emotions, thoughts, and memories in one body and mind. We couldn't forgive each other, because there was nothing to forgive. Neither of us had done a single thing that the other could fail to understand and sympathize with completely. We knew each other all too well, that's all. Detail after tiny fucking microscopic detail. It wasn't that the truth hurt, it didn't any longer. It numbed us, it smothered us. We didn't know each other as we knew ourselves. For me, the importance of the story lies in this emotional throughput. While there is an interesting thought experiment posed at the end of the story of who is who after the mind blend, with the change of perspectives in the writing, and just the scary idea of having all your thoughts blended with someone else's, the interesting part comes with the question posed earlier: is this a happy or sad ending? Well, the true emotional message lies within the bittersweet. Yes, the relationship ended, but now they know each other as well as anyone could. It's okay that you'll never truly know a person, whether they be a friend, a family member, or a romantic partner. Familiarity breeds contempt. To me, the story Closer represents the true greatness and potential of science fiction, using far-off technology to explore the basic facets of the human condition, like love and relationships, through an almost fantastical lens. Yes, our characters got to experience each other in the closest form imaginable, resulting in the end of their relationship, but it also brings the audience, particularly me, great comfort in the fact that it's okay if you never truly know what's going on with every facet of a person. For Michael, he recognizes the end of the relationship. And I knew now that what Sean had always wanted most in a lover was the alien, the unknowable, the mysterious, the opaque. The whole point for her of being with someone else was the sense of confronting otherness. Without it, she believed, you might as well be talking to yourself. I found that I now shared this view. Michael and Sean had achieved their goal of truly knowing one another, so is it a bad thing that they are no longer together? Michael even admits that his newfound closeness with Sean will only make him lonelier. Together, we might as well have been alone, so we had no choice but to part. Nobody wants to spend eternity alone. In a way, a bittersweet ending allows us to balance the good with the bad, to find hope in despair, to pick up the pieces where they are broken. Reality is almost never constrained within the binary of just being good or bad and happy or sad, and Closer's ending exemplifies this. Similar ideas are also explored in the 2019 role-playing game Disco Elysium. In this game, we explore themes from addiction, political systems from both sides of the spectrum, poverty, law enforcement, depression, love and heartbreak, and honestly much more. Similar to Closer, you wouldn't be incorrect if the game or the story brought forth a feeling of melancholy or sadness. Hell, even the professor in this very class, if I remember correctly, said that he had to stop playing Disco Elysium because it was making him kind of depressed. It is a very sad game, taking place in a world where kids throw rocks at hanging bodies for fun, corpses are left to rot for days on end, Political assassinations and strife are a dime a dozen, and the world is being slowly absorbed by forces beyond any human comprehension. Yet why do people come away after playing this game with a resounding feeling of hope? Similar to Closer, why do people fall onto either binary of it being happy or sad ending? The truth is that both stories reside between the binaries in the bittersweet, for you can't have happiness without sadness and vice versa. For anyone who has been in a failed relationship, yes, the breakup is terrible, sad, depressing, and all that, but the comeback can be all the greater. The same cannot be said for Harry Dubois, the protagonist of our game Disco Elysium. He is constantly plagued throughout the game with visions of a woman who turns out to have been his ex-fiancée. There's no way to reconcile this relationship, no way to make up for any past wrongdoings. Your character abuses alcohol and drugs to the point of giving himself amnesia. The kids call you slurs and are desecrating a corpse. The ruins of a failed communist revolution from years ago are still echoed in the city's architecture. You lost your badge and your gun, you're demeaned by others, manipulated into doing dirty work for corrupt political forces, forced into telling a widowed wife that her husband has died, as the entire world around you is literally falling apart at the seams. Yet the game is filled to the brim with sincere moments of human tenderness. For every moment your in-game skills berate you or push you towards further self-harm and drug abuse, there's a sincere moment as one of your skills, volition, pushes you to keep going.
The road to healing is going to be a long one. Stay the course. You will make it someday. I know there's not much to say, but if nothing else, just remember that you've made it this far, and it's just a bit farther now. Let's finish this.
For every interaction with a character truly broken down by their environment, there's a heartfelt moment of camaraderie with your partner. And as the game nears its end, where it seems as if the murder mystery plot has fizzled out with an anticlimactic finish, the game throws a cosmic stick bug at you to explain and empathize with the human condition.
I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul. And if I did, it would never ache. Few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like the highest of hells, a kaleidoscope of fire and writhing glass. Eternal damnation, even when you're sleeping. And when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. I feel great, mute empathy for you.
Disco Elysium and its themes are basically a direct bullet straight into my heart. No game, before or after, has really come close to the level of writing, understanding of humans, and just the expertise in video game storytelling. Like many great pieces of art, it's an exercise in empathy and an exploration in one of the many facets of the human condition. Like I said before, speculative science fiction doesn't really work for me if the human elements aren't present somewhere in the story. If Closer was just a story about this technology that allowed us to transfer our consciousness with the entire love portion absent from the story, then I don't think I'd have resonated with it as much. Likewise, if Disco Elysium was just an exploration of a murder mystery couched in between the Union and a coalition workers' rights scuffle, then it really just wouldn't have hit the same. Because of the writer's inclusion to connect these fun ideas to real-life emotions, it not only allows us to play with the thought experiments, but also gives us room to connect these ideas into our real lives. Having written this, on further retrospection, I've realized that a lot of my favorite pieces of art and media across all mediums also lie within the spectrum of the bittersweet, where both Closer and Disco Elysium reside.